Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Rock the Boat. With me, as always, and usually he is here, my co-host, the magnificent, the indomitable, Reagan William Reed. Oh, man, Reagan, I woke up for the last couple days each morning being tired, and yesterday our family had to put the dog down.
I'm sorry. That's rough.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the times when it's acceptable for a grown man to cry.
Agreed.
Yeah.
My dog was named Conroe because I think my niece Heidi was like, "You always are talking about Conroe. Let's just name the dog that." And that was during the annexation stuff started. So, but I've grown to love Conroe and my dog Conroe. And really, I don't know. I don't know. People who discount like we are word people, right, Reagan? We love words. We're loquacious, correct?
Yes.
All right. But there aren't really words to express emotions that are, I don't know, a dog can be like that, the only person who understands you at certain times, and everybody who owns dogs knows exactly what I mean. They have a way of like checking on you, even if like I've had some health issues. Conroe would literally nudge me like he knew what was up, and that dog, people in my neighborhood in April Sound, they're like, Conroe was a beautiful dog. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad that Conroe's gone, because we walked him all the time, and he didn't need a leash because he'd just sit there and smell the air and look around the golf course, and people would see him and he would kind of saunter over and they could pet him. He was a good boy. But anyway, God bless my dog, and God bless any of you with animals. And, it is in the Bible that God, our pets maybe will see us in heaven. So anyway, moving on. Let's talk about something even more depressing. Our local county government.
That's bad.
Okay. Upon further examination, I'm wondering if the Commissioner's Court at this point just thinks that everybody in East County is going to be happy with the new equipment. I wonder if everybody in this county realizes that just means more cost for the taxpayer. Reagan, your thoughts?
We got to preface. So,
go ahead.
My understanding is they're redistributing the equipment from Precinct 4 as Metz is outgoing, correct?
Correct.
And we talked about this last week. And so then they're going to give him, Matt Gray, the incoming commissioner, is going to have to get all new equipment.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the rationale that they're giving? Are they saying, well, we need to upgrade this equipment anyways, but if it's so bad it needs to be upgraded, why are the other commissioners getting it? What's the rationale being given here, Bob?
I don't think there is a rationale. I think that it's going to force him. Here's what I think. This is conjecture. Forgive me. But here's what I think. He was talking during his campaign about doing a kind of a rollout of fixing basically every kind of problem with roads and flood mitigation in the county, and he was going to roll it out over a 7-year period, right? Well, I think this squashes that plan because it's gonna take him a while. Just think about this. It's gonna take him a while. I don't know. There's millions of dollars worth of equipment that the county holds in 4 separate precincts currently. How much is it gonna cost in this current economic environment that we are in, a hyperinflationary period, right? I mean, because I watched the Fed minutes this week and they were terrible. This is hyperinflation we're going to have here. So we're going to buying a car, even buying a used car right now is expensive. Imagine supply chain disruption and the purchasing of $20 to $40 million worth of goods with inflation. Okay, so this is just a big spending boom for the big spenders on the court. Your thoughts, Reagan?
Yeah, I agree. Has this been confirmed that they're going to do this, or is this just conjecture? Is this actually going to be on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But if it doesn't happen, that 1% chance, I'll be happy. I will. Even though I will have put myself out there, but it's going to happen, folks. So, moving on from that, let's talk about something more cheery that you and I worked together on. What was it?
Are we talking about impending World War III?
No, we're
Okay.
not
We're gonna talk about that yet.
chess We're
Okay.
not chess meisters writing, black ops papers for the, the CIA or something.
Not that you know of.
Not that I know of. Yeah. I'm sorry there, Professor. But seriously, we held, I thought, a very good state district convention when we had State District 3.
That's very humble of you to say so.
Yeah, I threw it. Yeah, I was the chairman. Reagan, you were the vice chairman, and a very good what? Resolutions person. And talk about that senatorial convention and how we worked it. Go ahead.
Well, we are on the lieutenant governor's hit list forever.
Oh, you had to bring that up for the start. Oh man.
Because they were just going to put his name on the list of delegates, and he didn't show up to the convention like everybody else who went as a delegate. And so, look, we both thought, at least I thought, it was inherently unfair that there were people that wanted to go that couldn't go because there was a limited number of delegates, and you're going to give the lieutenant governor a delegate slot. He didn't even show up, and you were going to turn away people who did go through the process and showed up just because he's lieutenant governor. You're going to give him some sort of special treatment. No, come on.
Well,
no.
he was going to be able to go anyway.
As an at-large delegate.
Sure.
It was an outrage, and I'm glad that we did that. And some lucky person got that slot who actually did show up.
Yes, some grassroots person. But
And if the lieutenant governor hates us forever, then so be it.
oh, Dan. He's a Bentwater man.
Not anymore.
Where does he live? He moved
Moved
from
back to
Bentwater?
Harris County.
Oh, he should have stayed here, dude.
He was so insulted.
Oh, he had to leave because of Bob. Whatever. I made an honest ruling.
Your convention wouldn't make him a delegate, so that's what did it, Bob. That's
He's
why
like,
he
Bob
moved.
cuss.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Dan. But anyway, no, I got a lot of blowback on. Actually, they're like, "Why did you do this?" Oh man, come on. But anyway, other than that, did we spend a lot of money on our convention, Reagan?
No, we didn't even spend $50, did we? I mean,
No.
It was almost nothing.
Zilch.
And what did SD? Let's bash SD4.
Why not? I'm part of it now.
What
Let's
did they
see
spend?
did.
Hundreds of dollars on that?
Couple thousand.
Couple thousand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
We are,
I'm sure
we are fiscal conservatives, and
truly.
we have the receipts to prove it.
Let's talk about the process, though, that we used in preparing for the district convention. We had a very good resolutions committee. Why? Why did we have? What were the parameters
Because
of our
we
resolutions?
had some really good members on the resolutions
correct
committee.
But beyond that, what was our methodology with regards to resolutions?
Well, the general methodology is that if it is already in the party platform, which last I checked is about 1 million pages long.
Correct.
It's probably longer than the Bible. If it's already in the party platform, and chances are it is,
Yes.
there's no point in passing it because it's already in the platform. So it's just gonna get bumped up to the state resolutions committee, and they're gonna be like, oh, it's already in the platform. Toss it. So it is a waste of everybody's time to bring these resolutions that are already in the platform. And you would be surprised how many people bring resolutions that are already in the platform.
Oh,
I had to
I'm
tell them,
not.
be like, look, we're not going to advance this because it's already in the platform. So next.
Well,
But it just shows how many, even people that are delegates, have not even really read the platform or done their homework before they bring these whole resolutions. It's like, if you're going to bring a resolution and, use everybody's time,
Yeah.
at least go through the trouble to do your own research and figure out if this is in the platform or not.
Oh, that's the most annoying factor to me is I'm gonna go Saturday. Are you gonna go?
Well, I'm going to the one in Walker County.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell us how it runs, if it's smooth or not.
Well, Walker County,
Okay.
here, I'm going to get on another soapbox.
Oh,
Okay.
before you get on that one, let's finish with Montgomery County. Then I'll let you get on what you're doing
Okay.
now. All right. Now, we did a process and we eliminated a lot of the language of some of these, and we told people, hey, we're gonna, we're the resolution committee, we're gonna let through what's workable, correct?
Correct.
And we eliminated the duplication and all that. This is the last question on our local county thing, and then you can roll into yours. Do you think they're actually doing that now?
I do not have the slightest idea, Bob.
I hope they are, but I don't know. I'm not sure, because they better be doing it, because I don't want to be wasting hours of my time when they could have preliminarily done this.
All I will say is that I've seen how the SD4 convention runs,
Yeah.
and you just be ready for a long day.
Oh, dude.
Bring some stuff to snack on. You keep your sugar,
In
up
check and balance. Yes, and I bring my glucometer.
Yeah, plenty of water, and maybe a blanket and a pillow. But
Yeah, nap time for Bobo. Yeah.
So Walker County is interesting because unlike Montgomery County, and this is something that I really wanted to change when I was a vice chair, and I argued for this and never went anywhere. But Montgomery County has the precinct convention the night of the primary. So immediately after the polls close on primary night, then you have a precinct convention, which is the stupidest thing ever. And I hated it, and I thought it was idiotic.
We gotta change that.
Look, if you're a precinct chair and you've been the election judge, you've been at that polling spot since probably 4 or 5 in the morning.
Right.
And you get no breaks, no lunch break or anything. You stand there all day and run the election, which is one of those stressful things you will ever do.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is run a convention as soon as the polls close down. And also, people don't realize this, they haven't been an election judge, but it takes about an hour to take down everything at the polling place.
Yeah.
And so people have come into the precinct convention because they're told it's going to be at 7 when the polls close. They end up standing around for like an hour while you're trying to frantically shut down the poll. And then you've got, nobody wants to be doing a precinct convention then. People want to be at watch parties. That's where I want to be. I want to be done with all of this and go hang out at the watch party. You can do the precinct convention some other time. And that is what Walker County does. Walker County holds the precinct convention on the same day as the county convention. So we'll have the precinct conventions at 9. Mm-hmm. And we can do this because it's a small enough county. We can have them all in the same building.
Right.
And then when those are over, we'll meet. And we don't do an SD convention. Okay, you only do an SD convention if there are multiple Senate districts within a county.
Right.
Since Walker County is entirely within Senate District 5, we have what's called a county convention.
Right.
So it's the whole county meets, and we'll do our county convention, but it's exactly the same thing as an SD convention. It's just called a county convention. So I will be going to that on Saturday, and should be interesting, should be fun.
Well, one thing that I get like some people in April Sound who will go nameless, complain that I'm not at the precinct convention. Well, no, I'm a political strategist. I'm kind of like,
you're too good for you're like Dan Patrick. You're too good to go.
I'm too good. No, I've got multiple candidates always, and I've got to I'm crunching numbers. But this is what I do. So I don't offer excuses. I build my bench with talent. Okay. So if you're not going to be there, you have to ensure that that's going to run. And there's no waiting around in April Sound. They do the convention right then and there, and I build the party and I pick somebody to run that convention. It's not hard, people, either. Precinct convention, you're literally reading from a script.
Yeah.
Okay. But I would prefer that they would be on time, and if I'm off doing some more, if I'm being an election judge, which I've done also, wearing so many hats, you don't want to inconvenience the public.
Yeah.
So this is not me offering excuses. Actually, I'm trying to build up the party, the brand, and with a bench. So I think the only way to solve this is what you're saying.
Yeah, have it on a different day. And it astounds me the resistance to that, Bob. I genuinely...
People are lazy. They don't want to work another day.
I genuinely do not understand it, because every time it was brought up, and it was brought up multiple times back when I was the vice chair, you have all these people that were like, oh, we don't want to come another day.
Dude. They're
I'll
giving
tell you,
it short shrift.
most of those people probably were not election judges.
No.
So, yeah.
They're not doing anything else, and I think there's no excuse. We can have it on a Saturday after the election. Please, people, vote for that as a resolution this time.
Sanity.
Okay, enough of that. You got anything more on the conventions coming up? Here's my problem with the conventions. We were kind of saying this off camera. People, if you actually look at all, 334, something like that, planks of the actual RPT platform in the state of Texas, I don't know. All of them seem really great, right? But who actually reads them? Not all of them are great, in my opinion, okay? I don't think some of them are that great at all.
There's
okay?
literally a plank that calls for abolishing CPS. Not reforming it, abolishing it completely.
Okay.
So there's some weird stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying I'm not for all of it, people. Don't.
And you think there's some weird stuff in the platform now, this convention's going to be kook central.
Oh.
There's going to be some kooky stuff that makes it into the platform this year, I bet. So.
In the platform currently, there is some kind of closed primary.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's not kooky. That's a good idea.
That's a good
In
idea.
fact, I'll take it a step farther. We shouldn't even have primaries. We need to go back to the days when some fat dude with a handlebar mustache and a cigar.
The
picking
back
the
room. I think
nominees.
the back room is actually is a very good thing. And a lot of people go, man, you sound anti-democratic. No.
Well, it's not the Democratic Party. It's the Republican
That's
Party.
right. It's the Republican Party. It doesn't, don't you trust your leaders? No. People in the party right now don't trust their leaders. There's a gap between the ideology of the most active people in the party, right, and the actual leadership. It's one of the biggest, I think, of any state, and that's what people is a misnomer that people think Texas is so conservative. I'm like, no, it isn't, and they're like, how so? And I'm like, well, in the legislature, you have shared committees. I don't know of any other state that does that. Do you? Shared power structure?
Most states don't, and I mean, not even the National Congress does that.
No.
And look, I mean, if you want to make a Democrat the chair of the tourism
I don't
committee or
care.
whatever, go for it. I think it's probably actually good to
Right.
do that.
Right.
But don't make them chair of like the really important,
Like the rules committee or the
stuff where-
education.
yeah, the education committee, the stuff where like all the or the health and human services committee,
No.
where all these important bills are going to be coming through. I mean, elections matter. Elections have consequences, and if your party wins the majority of seats, then your party should be chairing these important committees.
Well, let's dig down a little further on this. In some of there's in Proposition 5 and 6, it was basically like, do you want to close the primary, right? Basically, those are the questions.
I voted for it.
Yeah, but guess what? About 30% no. What does that mean? Does that mean that they're all Democrats? I'd probably say
No.
I'd probably say though that 15-20% could be. I think that if they really understand what it meant, it should be pretty much 85-90%. But you're also counting on, I know you, Reagan, because you're slightly elitist in that, nice blazer there. There you go, harumph. Actually think that some people, and it's true, we had, I don't know, there were some low information voters out there because
Rick Perry
yeah.
got what, 3% of the vote?
How much did he get? 3 or 4?
He got as much as Chad Prather did.
That's terrible, man.
Yeah.
Okay, Chad Prather spent his time and his treasure out there. Chad's a friend. What's up, Chad?
I like Chad.
Chad's cool. But, man, he spent his time and his treasure. And some fake Rick Perry, who you fooled me on one show with that. That was hilarious. Folks, there you go. Rick Perry's running. I hadn't even seen it. It made me look stupid. It was awesome. So, I mean, a lot of people could have made that mistake, but 3% had no clue because there were probably about 100 articles written on that's not really Rick Perry. Still, I'm voting for Governor Goodhair. Yeah, So they voted for him, and Chad got less votes.
Yeah.
Dude, can you believe that?
No, I think honestly, part of the reason why the closed primary, or why that, or not the Democrat committee chair, I think there may be some more moderate Republicans that, they wanted more bipartisan, so they think, well, we should, be bipartisan.
Well, that's the atmosphere.
Whatever.
The atmosphere
So that was
really.
part of it, but honestly,
Yeah.
and my inner elitist will come out in
All right,
this.
go ahead.
And well, and part of it too is that it was a very binary choice. Like I actually kind of hesitated because I'm like, well, I don't. Like I said, I don't have a problem if a Democrat chairs one of these, like, you know, the tourism committee or something minor. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
And so I didn't like the way the proposition was worded, and so maybe that led to some people voting against it. But I my elitists will come out in this, and
Go ahead.
honestly, I think there's probably a lot of people that just didn't even understand the proposition.
That's
Never-
probably true. I
never-
throw up my hands.
Never
Oh, never.
overestimate the, I think there are a lot of people that may just not have even read it carefully, or they read it backwards or whatever. And they're like, oh, so this says they want to have Democrat committee chairs? Well, I'm voting against this. And
A clue, people. They're designed so you say yes all the way
And they
down.
always
Seriously.
pass. Yeah,
they always pass. I mean, they're like, how do we pass something and how do we get cover for some issue that might be slightly controversial? Well, just make it a proposition.
I think I voted against one, but I think I voted for all but one.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens.
I'll leave you to guess which one it was.
I don't care. I don't think, just the way the legislature doesn't take up any of our legislative priorities, they're not going to take up any of these propositions probably. The numerics are pathetic. So Billy's probably right over there that none of this stuff's going to pass. I mean, maybe one out of, but I do want to make a legislative priority. I will call for closing the primary to be a legislative priority. It needs to happen. It should have happened last session, but it didn't. So one of those things.
And a lot of states have closed primaries. So
need
it's
it.
not like this is some sort of novel.
It's not
innovation.
novel.
And I'll tell you something else that's interesting.
What's that?
And maybe this will turn a lot of people against closing the primaries.
Go ahead.
But if you look at the 2016 primary,
Yeah.
the states that Trump tended to win were almost all states
Open.
with open primaries, and the states
Open.
that Cruz won were states with closed primaries. So take that with that what you will.
That's not why I want it. I want a stronger conservatism that
Well-
cares. It's not anti-Trump. It's anti-establishment people who don't actually get stuff done. That, I mean, if you've been saying you can do property tax reform for a decade and you only do marginal reform, man, and with San Jacinto River Authority and versus Lone Star and all that water wars going on around here, without any kind of input from the state, because the state doesn't care. It seems like they're just staying out of it, because they got the regulatory thing rigged. Nothing changes unless you get legislators to actually advocate for policy positions, right? They don't do that now because of this system, and that's what I don't like about it. That's why I'm for closing the primary. So we get a more conservative ideology and a more conservative electorate to actually get things done, and they'll demand it. There you
Well, but Bob, our legislators spent all of this time trying to audit every county in Texas, and they even passed a resolution supporting Chick-fil-A. Like, isn't that great?
Yeah, good job. Okay, enough about that. Let's just talk briefly and close the show with this. We can do about 8 to 10 minutes on this one. We can
yeah,
do a
sure.
whole show on this one. All right. We're moving abroad. I'm getting really tired of watching the news.
Then just stop.
Well, look, I have to
Read
watch
National
it.
Review
Look,
instead.
We could end up, National Review instead. Billy's holding up his hand for that one. Look, I think we have the most ineffectual foreign policy people we've ever had in this country right now.
Even more than the Carter people?
Dude, Carter at least passed the Camp David peace accords. These guys couldn't pass a peace deal if they tried. They don't even have the leadership of NATO and they don't even have the EU's ear. It's like Australia's debating whether they should sidle up more to China. I mean, literally, allies are dwindling, and they're either like, they're making it a really ridiculous kind of binary choice.
Well, that hasn't been the case in Australia since Paul Rudd left office.
No.
Australia has been pushed farther and farther away from China, and they're in a trade war with China right now that looks
But
ours
there
look
are
like
people
nothing.
there. There's a big surrender posse.
Well, the
just
Labor
like here.
Party, but what does the Labor Party control there right now?
Not much, but they're worried. They think American weakness. I talked to a friend from Australia last night. They think American weakness is really projecting badly. Okay, so I tend to agree. Now,
Me too.
I think that we talked about this briefly over the phone, but the stuff that Obama did with regards to Crimea and all these other things, really, Trump, I think, checked it, right? And it kind of stopped it. And I do give him credit for that, and you should as well, Reagan. Because I think they look at Biden, and Afghanistan confirmed it for them. I don't think that they've thought, I don't think they're going to do much. I think we can just kind of roll in there. They did a deliberate show of strength on the border. They were waiting to hear some strong language, right?
There are two reasons why I think this wouldn't have happened under Trump.
Tell me.
But neither one of them is particularly complimentary to Trump.
Okay, well, tell me.
One, and
bellicosity?
I've said this before, not bellicosity, just his erratic nature. Okay, you don't know if one morning he's going to wake up and sing Putin's praises, or the next morning he'll wake up on the wrong side of the bed and decide to nuke Moscow.
He was unpredictable.
It was totally unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
And it had some advantages, but it also had some drawbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Two, though, I think that Trump was doing damage to the alliance structure, and that did benefit Putin. And so while you have Trump over here, and it's even been revealed now that he was talking about pulling out of NATO in his second term, but he's going to wait until the second term. So if you're Putin, why would you do something that's going to reinvigorate NATO if the opposing president is just going to pull out of NATO in your next term?
They could just walk on in.
Exactly. Wait till Trump pulls the U.S. out of NATO and then have your way. So
I think that would have been a terrible move.
I certainly don't agree with the way Biden has handled everything, and I do think that, especially with Afghanistan, the U.S. does seem to be in retreat and is projecting weakness by a lot of the things the Biden administration has done. But I'm not one of these people that thinks, it would have been so much better under Trump. He would have done some things better, but he also brought his own unique set of issues to the table as well.
Let's move slightly over, though. I think that they're also projecting weakness through Iran, okay? And in there are people who are diehard clingers to the Obama policy of giving cash to Iran to delay their implementation of a nuclear weapon, which that is a ruse. You're never going to delay them really on the development of that weapon. I don't know if they have enough physical material right now to build it, but who knows if they're telling the truth? Do you trust authoritarian regimes? Usually, I don't.
I don't even trust our own government.
Well, there you go.
Look, even if, the JCPOA had plenty of problems and I had a lot of criticisms, but you could also say, well, it was the best we could have gotten. But
do you think so?
I think so, probably. There's not really a good scenario when it comes to a place like Iran. And I'm not saying I supported the JCPOA. It had its problems, to be sure.
Sure.
But any deal that the Biden administration makes now is going to be so much worse than even Obama's deal.
Oh, God.
Because we have so much less of a standing and so much less leverage than we did during the Obama administration. So anything they do, and just this, you never come to a negotiations talking about how desperate you are to make a deal. You always have to leave it open that, stay kind of aloof, right? And so I think they're so desperate to just put the Iran issue to bed so they can pivot to more urgent places. They really just are not coming at this from a position of any kind of leverage. And whatever comes out of this, I think is going to be, if you didn't like the JCPOA, this is going to be way worse.
But I think they're not good. I think they're losing Democrats, actually.
Yeah.
It does remind me of the Carter administration when you had a lot of Democrats defect on certain things he wanted to do foreign policy-wise.
This is the problem, doing foreign policy by executive order. We need to go back to the days where all treaties had to go through the Senate. Right.
Well, it was like the Panama Canal Treaty had, like, when they did that, they had robust debates on that, you know, and it was.
Well, the U.S. never joined the League of Nations because the Senate voted it down.
You know what? And that was probably a good thing. Now, historians rewrite it and say, "Oh, that was a bad thing." Well, if we would have we would have posed even worse sanctions upon Germany. You know, so it's like, would that have been good? No, it'd have probably brought about a quicker start of a war. So, I think that a lot of things that we do in this world matter. America. A lot of people think America on the world stage is a minor player now, and that is a terrible.
Well, nobody thinks that, Bob.
Well, I think a lot of people
We're
overseas are seeing a
we're declining
diminishment.
power.
A
Declining power.
diminishment. We look like we are diminishing right before the world's eyes. That's why I say, you know, we're going to become like Great Britain, really?
It's because the Americans don't even have confidence in their own position. And this is not even a partisan thing. You have it definitely on the left and the weakness of the Biden administration. But then you also have this sort of thing in more of the populist right that hates America and think that we're some sort of force for evil around the world. And they have this weird bromance with Putin. And, you know, we need, and I've said this again and again.
Say it.
But America had lost confidence in itself during the Carter years, during the malaise of the 70s.
Right.
And we needed a strong, optimistic leader like Ronald Reagan to come in and make this country believe in ourselves again.
That is
and
true.
So we've had a series of weak and incompetent leaders in the White House now, and the American people are beginning to lose faith in their own role in the world. And so we need a strong leader like Ronald Reagan to come and project an optimistic vision and really give our country confidence.
Do we have optimists, or we just have a bunch of realists who try to sell realism?
We don't have any realists in this country. There are no serious politicians that are part of the realist school of thought in this country.
You're right.
That's why China's eating all the lunch. We don't have realists.
No. We don't.
We have isolationists and neocons and neoliberals. There are no
Right
realists.
now, everybody in Washington is like, when's the war coming? When's the war coming? And there's like, how do we avoid it? Or how do we give them just enough to get by? That's a terrible, like, binary choice. There's got to be better ways of dealing with this than what's being projected out in the media. Maybe they're just disinformation and America's doing really great, but I kind of doubt it. You were seeing, 5 million at least people displaced. It's probably going to be more like 15, 20 million people that are going to be out of that country. And a lot of people, and this is what I don't like, don't go and start being like pro-Putin and saying there's some kind of Rothschild. Don't do it, all right? It makes you look bad. Don't do it. Rein it back in. It's not the truth, A. And B, in Washington, D.C., trying to get people together to do anything. These are big talkers, folks. They talk. They cannot keep secrets. So that whole conspiracy theory is bunk. Go ahead, Reagan.
As are most conspiracy theories. Get off Facebook and go read some books.
I like that. And I think that's how we're going to end the show this week. Read some books, people. Don't be conspiracy kooks. And we want to say, God bless you. God bless all your animals. Love you, Conroe. You were the best dog ever.
God bless Ukraine.
God bless Ukraine.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and ownership of MCPLive.tv.